kids to play a rich dad, poor dad game and learn your way around the financial system.
Yeah, it's actually called Cash Flow, I think.
Ah, right. Okay, so that was really good.
That's a game for grown-ups.
We're live.
Yeah,
we are live.
We're live. Sorry to interrupt. We're live.
That game's for grown-ups. I got that. In fact, that board game I think cost $300.
really?
Is it worth it?
That's no joke.
It's not cheap.
No,
What's the game like? Is it worth it as an investment, John?
You can
getting the cash flow game.
You can actually get it online. You can download it as an app. And I think you can get it through a lot of the library websites as well.
Okay.
And that way kids can play it on their computer these days.
Well, we are live.
I was going to say the Christmas budget would have been blown otherwise. Yeah.
And even if it is an app that you have to pay for, I would say it's well worth its money.
Absolutely.
Sharon, get it. Everybody get it. Get good stuff. We're talking about, welcome everyone. We are live on a John Lavania Success Mastermind for Monday, August 3rd. Can you believe it's August? How did that happen?
No, I know.
And we're still, I've only seen one incident of rain here in Phoenix so far. I am back, by the way. I'm back in civilization.
We can tell.
Yes, back in my natural habitat. Thank you, Star. I did have a very kind of a reset, kind of centering. Well, anyone who's been to Sedona, I know Julian, you were looking up pictures of Sedona when I said that's where I was, and but I got to hit the reset button a bit and get productive on things which we're going to be talking about today. One of my favorite topics, production, from a different angle. It's going to be fun. But I got to just get focused on some stuff like the development of this mastermind group and everything that we're doing here. And for those of you who are just tuning in and you just walked into a conversation where I introduced the idea that actually came up for me just yesterday of having, in addition to our morning calls, of course, we're going to be putting in a book club. We've got some other specialty topic breakout rooms that are going to be coming in. All this stuff is coming together this week. So it is all hands on deck, but also a book study for kids, or a mastermind for kids. I know that I had none of this data when I was a young, person or teenager or whatever. My life was a wreck, right? So if we could figure out, how these principles are alive, not just in ourselves as adults, but also we got a lot of parents, grandparents here, right? What unfair advantage could we deliver to that next generation or generations if they just get into, some right thinking and not just watching whatever the best of the worst is on TV or whatever's going on, glued to their machinery, right? I know we've got controls that we have to put in on my daughter, because she'll just stare at the screen all day, whether it's an iPad or whatever it happens to be. So we've got, so that I'm thinking, my goodness. And of course, doing it with, I think Sharon was just talking about how Kiyosaki has, of course, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, has like Rich Kid, Poor Kid and stuff like that, designed in language for children. Although I will say this, kids are really smart and they're uninhibited by a lot of the accumulated baggage that we grown-ups get to deal with, right? So think about being able to tilt the scales, right? For me, it's been a lot of work. I'll just speak for myself. Picture a set of balancing scales, right? Where you've got, let me go ahead. I got a little bit of background noise here. Okay, so where you've got, negative and positive weight on the balancing scale, right? And so I decided, hey, I'm going to get my life together. And so I started putting a few pebbles on the positive side, but the negative side was really, really heavy. Nothing's changing. Well, keep putting that weight on, right? But if a kid, has less negative weight just from less time to accumulate such things, we could tilt those scales pretty fast. And of course, all of this is for, I think, right, for the next generation to be better, stronger, faster. Isn't that the ideal state of leadership, where those being led accomplished more than the previous generation? Yes, go do it better, right? I mean, we did what we got, okay, some evolution, I suppose, but look at the next generation. What can you do? And I think there's plenty of influences, like I already alluded to, which are not resourceful. If kids can, think for themselves and observe and understand, yes, these are the principles that have worked throughout generations. You may think that mom and dad or grandma are old fogies or long in the tooth. They may not know what that expression means, but we'll define those expressions so they're not sitting there with a bunch of misunderstood ideas that they can't use. The whole idea is this this is for use. But they may assume that, you're not like the cool kids because you're not a kid anymore. Well, guess what? These principles have been around for thousands of years, right? So I don't know, we can go talk to Moses or something, right? He probably wasn't cool, right? But whatever. So that's one of the directions that we can go in with this, as all part of the membership here in the mastermind. So I'm really excited. More and more value is getting added to this, and I think we're going to explode onto the scene. But everyone here right now is the inner circle of the inner circle. Let me take a look at some beautiful people right here. I see Adrian Garner over there in Grand Cayman. Bill, Kitty, good to see you. Jackie, as always. There's Ego over in the UK. Jonathan, always good to see you, my friend. Caroline Faye, Tom Starr, Nikki, Joseph. Hey, Joe. Coela's here. Welcome, Mandy, Gail, Jody, Jane, and Neil, both sitting next to each other. Adrian, he's got I see the smoke coming out of his cans that he's wearing on his ears. He's thinking over there. Good to see Sharon and Lynn and Adrian, the other Adrian, and Elmer. We got multiple Adrians here with us today. I've got a quick topic for you. I do have a hard stop at 45. I got 3 sessions back to back. This is the first, but with various meetings I got to do. But I was reading over the weekend this, which I know I've mentioned before, Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz. This is the self-image psychology, one of the foremost books on self-image psychology. Nothing too intense, right? We can go more intense than this, but this one was $1. Yes, you could see the price tag, $1. The pages are yellowed. Maxwell's looking like Maxwell over there. But Psycho-Cybernetics, I know some of you have ventured into this sort of psychology and philosophy before. You know what? I got to be careful when I use the word psychology, right? So psychology is simply the study of the mind and spirit. In fact, psyche, the Latin root word, meant spirit. Now, in modern times, we're not so much talking about, when we say psychology or psyche, so much spirit, but that has to do a lot with materialism that has grown and grown throughout society. But truly, well, if we get quiet for a minute, we may notice that we are not our body, and we are not even our mind. We have a mind, right? We use it. Okay, but who are we really? Okay, so that's not where we're going with our conversation today. But one of the conversations that Maxwell had with me in this book, thanks, Max. And this is a chapter on letting your success mechanism work. So what he's talking about here, is that you're the operator of a success mechanism. You've got a conscious mind that you think with. I think I would like ice cream. Okay, great. So that's a thought. That's a conscious thought. But then the servo mechanism, right? The operations, the computers, the moving of the muscles, the breathing of the lungs, all of this kind of stuff. You're not thinking about that. All you thought was, I want ice cream. And then there's all this machinery, to use like the servo mechanism example, right? There's all this machinery that goes to work. Now, keep in mind, this was written some time ago, before we had more computing power in our pocket than NASA had when they put somebody on the moon. Okay. So servo mechanisms. Here's the controlling impulse. Here's the electrical signal to run the motor. Okay, to do the work. He says, here's where people get tripped up. And my friends, when I read this again, I was like, yes, that's right. In fact, I just saw a demonstration of it in my life going to Sedona for a few days. Okay, so here's the work. I've got all this intent, right? Here's what I want to happen. Here's the goals. Here's the outcomes. And yes, have goals, have conscious thought, be definite with your purpose. But then here's what we almost always do. Try this on for yourself. Okay, now I got to work my ass off. Holy shit. And I got to do this. I got to do that. And I'm overwhelmed. And how do I do all this stuff? And you know what? It's not working out. I'm struggling. I'm frustrated. Look, problems, barriers, right? Distractions. Oh, maybe I should be looking at that. Well, maybe not. Any of you ever experienced this? How about every day? Right? But what he's saying is, and he cites multiple examples. So people like Tom Edison, great example. Tom Edison used to have this idea for light bulb, phonograph, fill in the blank. He was the most successful inventor maybe ever in history. Okay. And he would have this idea, and he doesn't know the answer. He doesn't know, right? He would take a nap in his Menlo office over there, right, in New Jersey. take a little nap and wake up and write down what came to him while he wasn't thinking about it. He cited other examples of great authors who had the whole story presented to them. They don't know, excuse me, they don't know the story. They know they want a great story. And here's the mystery novel or whatever it happens to be. And so they go and they rest on it. And it may take a week, right? But what he was saying is, rather than forcing for a month or months with all this attachment to the little outcomes, this was a win, this was a lose, right? Oh my goodness, problems, struggles, right? Rather than belaboring all that with all this attachment to it, a relaxed confidence that the answers come because we're actually not doing the work. Like we, meaning the actual, thinking conscious person, that there are, and this again may sound a bit metaphysical, and that's fine, that there are multiple intelligences that we could say could be like a collective consciousness or universal intelligence, and things are drawn to us in a state of relaxed confidence, knowing that our wish fulfilled is like the guaranteed future outcome. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm going to reach that goal. I reach every goal I set. I have no idea how. I've never known. What's the name of the character in the book? I don't know. It'll come to me, right? And when you look at genius, you look at acts of genius. Like what was one of the ones he cited in there was the guy who came up with the benzene molecule. They're trying to figure out how to do this refining of, oils or however that works. And benzene, I know just as a layman, is a component of like gasoline, petroleum fuels. And so the benzene molecule flashed into the guy's mind when he was asleep or something, jumped out of bed and drew it out, and it was perfect. Where the hell did that come from, right? So it's kind of irrefutable. It may sound a bit woo-woo, okay, but haven't you also seen that synchronicity? Haven't you also seen in your life where maybe you've been frustrated on something and you set it aside? Not the intention. The intention is constant, definite, right? Focus. Yes, that's where we're going. Okay. But then you go ahead and you release that to, not necessarily conscious thought, but what's behind that and much bigger than that, right? So you release that and you come back later, or you're commanded to come back to it because you have a hunch. Napoleon Hill, in his classic book, Think and Grow Rich, talked about the 13 principles of the most successful people of the industrial age, which he studied. And the 13th principle was, as those of you who read it, the sixth sense, right? Those hunches that come to us. He said, you can develop this, but not before you develop the other 12, right? Organized planning, definiteness of desire, persistence, faith, autosuggestion, right? These principles that lead to you developing a sixth sense. You just get a hunch. Now, sometimes people will look to others who seem to be just in that flow and think they're lucky or special or something, right? Because they've got instincts, right? Because they've got intuition. But just like any muscle that we can consciously exercise, we can consciously, pick up weights, and we can study, we can read and exercise this muscle consciously. Just like that, we can learn to trust our intuition more. But I'll tell you what, my friends, it doesn't happen when we're frantic. It doesn't happen when we're trying to force solutions on problems with our limited thinking, which is very reasonable, right? But reason is limited, right? Where do you go from there? Reason is based on stuff we already know. Reason is good. It's a good mental faculty. I'm glad that I can reason. That's nice. But it's limited. What about imagination? What about intuition? Are those limited to? No. Okay, so how do we tap into that? So as grown-ups, interesting, we started talking about, children's studies here. But as grown-ups, we tend to get really reasonable. Yeah, that'll help you survive in the world. That'll help you avoid some falls. Thank you. Very nice. Okay. Don't poke a bear. Cool. Thank you. Don't walk out in front of traffic. You'll get destroyed, right? Some people still don't know that, but yeah, us thinking people, we can think, we can reason, but can we go beyond that? And I think that's where children I'm speaking generally now. Okay, there's definitely children who've had a rough time, and but I think well, as a parent, right, I want to give my daughter the best life and lifestyle. Okay, that's good. One of the things that I'm looking into for her is something where she has accounts, like financial accounts that grow as she does, to the point where when she's an adult, she'll be in a much better position than I was entering adulthood. And I think all of us want the best for our children. Would any of you do something harmful to your child intentionally? No, I don't think, not in this group, right? That being said, most children would have, I think, a bit of an advantage when it comes to blank slate, and let's just adopt some principles, right? Let's imagine, right? Let's use that mental faculty. Kids imagine all the time. Even kids that don't have, think about this, when you were a child, whether you grew up rich or poor or somewhere in between, if you had like a rock and a stick and a I don't know, a pot, for cooking, and you can make a drum out of it, and you can make forts and sandcastles and imagination, right? You can build little rock piles and have fun, right? That's the kind of stuff I did when I was a kid. And so it's not so much about what we have or don't have physically. It's about our ability to use our imagination to, yes, keep ourselves entertained, but I think more importantly, to keep ourselves inspired. So none of this works if we're not in a state of heightened inspiration, inspired, in spirit. Who are you? Once again, right? This doesn't happen when we're forcing solutions in all the worldliness of it all, right? And we've got to hammer in these solutions, whether they fit in the hole or not. We got to hammer that peg in. What was the saying? Plans, the best laid plans of mice and men, or something like that, right? Life is what happens while you're making other plans, right? So do I know the path? I'd like to think I know more than I did before. But what did Socrates say? He said, he said, I know nothing but the fact of my ignorance. And that guy was purportedly the smartest guy in the world at the time. So, okay, if a guy like that could say that, well, all right, so what do I really know? In fact, there was a movie that came out, I don't know, a couple decades ago, whatever it was, called What the Bleep Do We Know? Talking about like quantum field theory, and how, not to confuse everybody right now, but how, there's the potentiality of a particle in the quantum field. And then by the virtue of the fact that you're putting your attention on the potentiality, it turns into a particle, from a wave to a particle. Okay, so, and I'm not a quantum field theorist, okay, but there are a lot of people who are into that kind of thing. I know some of you have studied Joe Dispenza's work. He kind of goes down that rabbit hole too. So what do we really know? You got to know where you're going. Do you have to know how to get there? I've said it several times. My answer always comes through my action. And it may not always be the exact right action. But I'm going to go ahead and put one foot in front of the other. As the old, I think, Quaker saying is, as you pray, move your feet, right? So we're moving in a direction, okay? And we're efforting, but that knowingness, that confidence, and those answers come as we take action. And sometimes it's because we turned that corner and we saw something we didn't even expect. How many times does this happen to you in your life? Think about this. How many times that happened to you in your life where solutions came you'd never expected? Now, you could have forced your solutions that you thought, right? Here's what I think. And of course, what I think has to be right. Ooh, that's rough, right? Are you here to assert your rightness upon the world? Are you so attached to your own limited beliefs, right? Your limited conscious mind. Are you so attached to that? I have been a lot, right? I think, I think for intelligent people, and this is why thinking is the hardest work there is, right? I think it's difficult to sometimes abandon how we think things should go. But successful people work with what is, not with what should be. This may sound a little bit abstract, but I think you could apply this to any area of life. Spontaneity has not been my strong suit. And that's kind of where I'm going with all this. right? So just kind of surrendering my best thinking. Here's the intention. Yes, it's going to happen. We reach every goal we set. We may miss some targets here and there. There's a difference between goals and targets. Lots of targets here and there. Okay. But the goal, we always hit the goal. Okay. And we may abandon a target here and there if we decide, oh, here's a better path. Because like Napoleon Hill said in the chapter on organized planning, is that you start right where you are and you may not have all the answers. In fact, you don't. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you can't adjust those plans as you take action. Work with what you got, move forward. Do it with a state of non-attachment. I know I've mentioned this before, and I'm going to shut up here in a second. Dealing with people that want to become more successful in sales, person-to-person sales. Plenty of intention. I intend to deliver that benefit to that customer. Attachment, whether they buy or not, oh, that's rough. Now you're needy. Now you're the rat looking for cheese. Lots of intent, no attachment, right? Really tilt those scales. Takes work, but my goodness. Look at all that we've accomplished so far. Look in your own life. Look what you've accomplished so far. Pretty damn profound. Just the fact that you're here, right? You get credit for that. That's big. Do not discount where you're at. I know I do that all the time. So that was a reminder for me. Thanks, John. Thanks for the reminder. Oh, you're welcome. Very good. Keep in mind. What do you guys think about this? I see a few hands up already. I see Sandra and then Adrian Garner. Let's go to Sandra first and then Adrian. What's up, Sandra? Where's Sandra? Sandra Amore? Sandra? I'm going to try forcing unmute, and I hope I don't mute you. Sandra, can you go ahead and unmute? Sandra, your hand is up. Sandra. No go on Sandra. Let's go to Adrian over in Grand Cayman. What's going on, Adrian?
Hey, John. Yeah, I just spent 45 minutes talking to Jackie. She's worn me out, so I'll try and get some more energy here. We had a great chat. No, what you said about Edison made me think about, well, very much of you, John, because the ability to wake up from a nap, think of great ideas, or do a call for an hour off the top of your head, as you're always telling us, you don't know where it comes from. It has to be consistent practice. We need the strength of that daily building and practice to be able to do that kind of thing. So you're absolutely right. You get great ideas and relaxed moments, but only because you've done the preparation. I've seen Adrian there with his cans on from the first day of the calls. And I remember him coming on and then suddenly all this knowledge started coming out because he was practicing, going through the modules. And now he could talk to us for hours, probably about the techniques and what's on those videos. And it just shows you, if you do the preparation, there are no shortcuts. So that's where the inspiration comes from. And that's why Edison was able to come out with these brilliant ideas, having practiced for years and years and years in a shed. So that's how I see it, really. There's no shortcut.
Right. And of course, you're a very well-studied man, Adrian, and the distinctions that you have about the stuff, and being able to observe someone like Adrian, who's applying his learnings to e-commerce, right, and innovating that, right, kind of coming up with different combinations. Isn't that what we're all doing? What did Goethe say? All intelligent thoughts have already been thought. All we got to do is try and think them again. Okay, great. So let's put together different combinations of that. That kind of goes along with the whole quantum field theory, where there's nothing created or destroyed, right? So thank you, Adrian. So glad you're here, my friend. Let's try Sandra again. Sandra Amore. Sandra. Any luck on Sandra? All right, we'll come back to Sandra if she can get that running. Let's go to Caroline and then Susan. Hey, Caroline.
Hi, just want to say a quick hello because I missed a few days. I was visiting my mum and then I was doing a 3-day juice fast at home. So it's like no devices, no internet. So I'm all detoxed and I don't know what, but I'm feeling good. So I'm back. And the thing I wanted to just share was this, the thing about the dreaming, the imagination. I think I was impressed with realism very, 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 very young. I don't ever remember dreaming about anything. I was always just very realistic from a young age. And then I get to the stage of my life and I'm like, shit, that's a bad thing. Not having imagination, not having dreams, not having those wishes and that fantasizing about what you could be doing. I've never had that. So that's my biggest challenge at the moment with my whole entrepreneurial journey, is trying to become that person that can dream big and that person that can just set a really big target and quash that voice in the back of your head saying, don't be stupid, that's not realistic. So I don't know if that resonates with anyone else, but that is one of my biggest challenges growing up in England through a very academic education and that very conventional route. So yeah, that's my little sharing for today. Thank you.
Thank you. And you know what? We could say the same thing about America or Australia or wherever. I know English are all supposed to be very proper, and we're all standing on ceremony. We're very reserved. Okay. But there's that same sort of throughout the world. Right. So, but Caroline, you have opened up. My experience of you is you have opened up, and like everybody knows Caroline. Like, yeah, you're very self-expressive, I think. So, keep showing up, my friend. So glad you're here.
Yeah.
Hey, John, I was just
the biggest thing, just one thing to add, the biggest thing that was stopping me from dreaming is a fear of failing, a fear of looking stupid. Those are the things, aren't they? Anyway,
Sure.
sorry, you were going to say something, Adrian.
Yeah, it's very reasonable. Very reasonable. Well done. Okay.
I was just going to say, John, that proper upbringing doesn't stop us stealing your catalytic converter, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. So there you go. We're speaking in broad generalities now. Yeah. So at the same time, we can say, oh, look, in England, they actually crawl under your car and hack off your catalytic converter for $20 worth of platinum. Okay. I think that was Carlene had that experience last week. That's wacky stuff. Let's go to Susan, and then Ivy, and then Kitty. Hey, Susan, what's going on?
Hi, good morning, John.
Hey.
Yeah, I love what you're talking about today. And I was just as far as I was thinking about what I'm doing lately. I always believe, for me, I listen to something every day that's going to help with my mindset. I've got to write something every day, and I've got to read something every day. And if I can watch something, even better. But what I've been doing lately is I've been listening to these, they're like mindset meditations at night. I put my earphones in at night, and I listen to these meditations, and I've been doing it for about a week. And, I listen to it at night right before sleep. I mean, I'm in bed, lights are out. That's when you're most receptive to new things. And so I wake up, and I swear I am more inspired and more motivated and more driven when I wake up in the morning now. It's really, really been effective. So anyway, so that's really, really changing me. But the other thing I want to tell you is I love your idea with the kid thing. I have been trying to, with our kids in school, they're learning all these great things in school, but we're not teaching really good life skills like money management. What are they going to do with their life? Having the right mindset to go forward in life. And so I love your idea to do something with kids. And anyway, I love what you talked about. Thanks so much. I love this group too. You're all my homies, my family.
Right. That's right. So good to hear your voice there, Susan. Thank you for your feedback and for participating.
Thank you,
awesome.
John. Thank you.
Let's go to Ivy and possibly her hat. I can't see her yet. Where's Ivy?
No, I haven't got a hat today.
Oh, okay.
I haven't got a hat today, but I promise I'll have one towards the end of the week.
Okay.
Hi, John. Hello, everyone. I was just thinking about what you were saying about being frantic, when you get overwhelmed and you can't figure out the solution to whatever it is that's on one's mind. And there's a recurring thing that happens with me. I put something in a very, I keep it in a safe place thinking, I don't want to lose this. So the next time I need it, I know where to go. And for the life of me, again and again, I can't remember said safe place. And then I find myself getting worked up, and I just say, you know what, just leave it, just go and do something else. And when you actually need that item, it will come to you where you put it. And I promise, every time without fail, the second I go off to do something else and take off my mind off looking for that one thing, a thought just pops in my head. Oh, why don't you look in so-and-so drawer or in so-and-so box? And I promise you, the first place I check is usually where that item is. And it's well ahead of when I actually need it. So I don't fret anymore. So if it's earrings or keys or a book or a certain document, I just leave it. And when I need it, I actually just go, and the first place I look, it's usually there. So something, probably related happened a week or so ago. I wrote a list of names of people that I wanted to reach out to. They'd kind of been bubbling in my mind, and I thought, no, now I've got to be, intentional about this. So I sat down and I wrote the names out. And of course, I think I have doctor's scribble sometimes, because I went back to read this list of names, and there was one name on the list that for the life of me, I couldn't make out what I had written. And I started panicking. I thought, why? I mean, I don't know who this person is. I can't figure out the name. I don't know what the letters are. And it bugged me for the better part of a day. And I just thought to myself, you know what, that's it. Why don't you start at the top of your list, contact everybody else, catch up with them, whether it's on Zoom or WhatsApp or whatever it is, send them an email, make sure the numbers are still valid. I mean, these are people I probably haven't spoken to in 4 or 5 years. And you won't believe it. As I approached the person's name on the list, I was doing something completely different. And I just picked up the list and I looked and I was like, oh my goodness, I know who this is. This is my cousin who lives in da-di-da. So I just like wrote out the name in capital letters. And I thought, how could I not remember her name? So it works for me. When I find myself going into a tiz over something, I just say to myself, you know what? It's not worth that waste of energy right now. Go do something else. And when you really have to do that or find that or attend to that, it will come to you. And it works every time. So yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of parking angels?
No.
So when I'm looking for a parking spot, I tend to, yeah, okay. All right. My daughter is the ultimate parking angel. Like we could be pulling into this huge parking lot. There's not an open spot anywhere. And my daughter's like right there, and bam, they pull out and I pull right in.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's go to Kitty and then Sharon and then Ego. Hey, Kitty.
Hi.
Hey.
So you were talking about some stuff back a while ago. And one of the things that I was thinking about is it's kind of like, letting go is like being willing to allow the universe to just do what it does, not trying to take control, not trying to should yourself into doing things, but just to be free of that. And it's amazing what happens when you let go, when you really let go, things just come, and they multiply. And sometimes they're beyond your wildest dreams. They're beyond the result is way past what you had envisioned inside your own head. It's much better. So I've been really working on doing that because there's a lot of stuff going on in my life, and trying, really working on not being attached to stuff and just saying, okay, it's gonna work out, whatever it is, it's gonna work out. The other thing that along what Ivy was saying, like about losing things or whatever and not remembering, instead of saying, I'm going to put this here so I don't forget it, do the positive side of that. I'm putting this here so I will remember. Because you say remember in your head, the remember connects rather than the forget, which makes you go, it's gone, or whatever. And I've found that to work for me a lot. But yeah, so I'm just really working on letting go of results and just allowing the universe to have control, because I can't control this stuff, and I'm not going to should myself to death, because that's really a negative thing. And just see what happens. Be open to whatever it is that comes along.
The shoulds. Yeah. The shoulds. That's so much pressure that we're putting on top of the answer, right? If we look at here's the answer, and we're just going to load it down with all this should. Oh man.
Right. And also a lot of times other people will should you, like I've got a family member that is, well, you should be doing this now because this is where we're trying to get to. And it's like, I'm going at my own pace. I am doing what I need to do within the time frame I have, and I'm going along. So I actually had to say, so if you can't give me positive input, please don't give me negative input, because I can't handle that now. I need positive input, and I'm trying to put out a positive, energy rather than squashing what I've got. You know, I don't want to squash the things that are coming back to me. I want to constantly put out something positive. So
Thank you,
that.
Kitty. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Let's go to Sharon, then Ego, and then Bill. Hey, Sharon.
Hi. I just wanted to share another book with everybody, which is a book by Daniel Siegel, and it's called Awake. It's his most recent book. He's had some bestsellers in his field, but it's pretty heavy going, I got to warn you. But basically, he talks about training the mind for enhancement in certain areas and what you can actually do, some simple exercises to actually do that. So it's both a textbook and a training manual. But like I say, I just warn you, it's heavy going, but it's well worth sticking with it, and just do it piecemeal. I'll put it up in the chat so people can link into it.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Sounds like some interesting reading. Let's go to Ego, and then Bill, and then Ingrid. Hey, Ego.
Hi everyone. Good evening. Good morning. I like what you said, John, about the ability to keep ourselves inspired. We all have reasons, and even in times like this, we have reasons not to be inspired. I mean, sometimes we start a journey and we're focused, we're consistent and we're focused. However, you know, we have things that weave in and out of our lives that basically pulls our focus away from our original intent. So, you know, I like that phrase, what was it? Heightened inspiration. So regardless of, you know, what comes in and out of our lives that we can or can't control, very similar to what Kitty said, we need to be in that heightened state of inspiration regardless, and just kind of make it happen, regardless of the pace, or regardless of how we feel we're doing. So we could measure our achievements by, say, somebody else's results, but then, you know, we're all on different paths anyway. So I would say, for me, just kind of be in that state of heightened inspiration and just kind of keep going regardless of what comes in and out of our lives or our way.
Thank you. Did everyone hear where Ego was talking about measuring yourself against other people's appearances? In other words, comparing my insides to other people's outsides. Oh, they're so much further down the path than me. I'm so deficient. Oh, great. So there's more weight that we're putting on the negative side of the scale. It's very seductive. It's easy to do, right? It's easy to think that way, so-called think that way. But yeah, wow, Ego. Listen to the insights from her. Amazing stuff. Good times. Thank you, Ego. We're going to go to Bill, and then Ingrid, and then Jody, and I think we're going to wrap up. Hey, Bill, what's going on? Where's Bill? Bill McDonald. Bill.
You got me now?
There he is.
Hey.
With another spectacular shirt.
I'll try my best. I think I want to move to the Cayman Islands where Adrian is.
Yeah.
the universal sort at some stage. You were talking about principles, education, specifically for young kids. Certainly the school I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to go to, somebody once described it as you were either a criminal, you caught the criminals, or you looked after them when they were locked up. That was about the height of the three employment exercises. But for the creative side, on education and on what we're doing here for everybody, I think you have a tendency, some people are more creative obviously than others. I saw earlier in the chat, Carleen said she was a daydreamer. That's exactly what I was at school as well. I would gaze out the window, and the only two subjects I was good at were English language and English literature. And they're only two subjects that I passed. I still love English language and literature, but be that as it may, but it's a tendency to overthink things. I think that's what stalls us all. And certainly last week I have overthought everything. And I'm only going to mention this once, John. I still haven't got my Amazon account validated. So I have carried on regardless, as you often say, adapt and overcome. And I've got a shed load of products now that I've lined up with direct from manufacturers, and it's going to go on a website that I'm setting up. And that's what you've got to do. Instead of trying to concentrate on that one thing, thinking hard, just go with your creative side and just let it, I can't do anything about that at the minute, so let's move on to something else. And that's what I've done. And I think that's what everybody needs to do, is just, don't overthink things.
Right. And Bill, you're back at home now, right? I know you were traveling for a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think having a break, which I just had last week, I had a break from normalcy or whatever, kind of clears the mind, and you get to hit the reset button. And I'm sure you're going to get all those logistics handled. They'll get handled. But I'm glad you're building your pipeline regardless. So you're about to, that's great.
The buckets can wait.
Nice. Well done. Let's go to Ingrid, Jody, and Adrian J. So we're going to go to Ingrid next, then Jody, then Adrian. And I think we're going to be wrapping up with time at that point. Hey, Ingrid.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
So the lady that talked about having trouble dreaming, I completely relate. I'm not even sure I know how. That's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay. So perceive an ideal, think on that, feel the feelings associated with having accomplished that. And then what we're saying today is release that. Okay. You just experienced it. So this is a big topic. Okay. But be, and then do, and then have. So who is this person who would have those results? Right. So you think as if you've already got it. Right. And then the ideas for the doing this will occur, not at this exact moment, perhaps. Okay. But when you become that person who would have that result, the path becomes more clear. So that's what we're talking about. Huge topic though. So I can recommend some reading for you as well on that. Thank you for sharing, Ingrid. Keep coming. Yep. We're going to keep that conversation going. Let's go to Jody and then Adrian. And if we got time, we'll grab Therese out here as well. Hey, Jody, what's going on?
Hello. I'll be brief, but what John, you were saying about letting your conscience take over, and it's boggled my mind. My husband is a software engineer, and he'll be working on embedded software, and he'll hit a wall, and he'll walk away. He'll go for a walk, or it's night, he'll go to bed. He wakes up, he has the answer all the time. So he's learned that, he just doesn't pound that when it hits that wall, he just goes. And I need to learn to do that. But the other thing is, when Sharon was mentioning about money and children and cash, my kids were 8 and 10 when Bill and I married, and they were always asking, let's go out to dinner, let's go out to lunch, let's go out to dinner. We would go, and it hadn't dawned on us, you pull the credit card out, you put it on the, little tab, and off you go, you sign your name. And all of a sudden we realized they have no idea what this costs, what effect this has on the family. So we started paying in cash, and boy, they were like, what? You're whipping those 20s out, or you're piling up, and then they see you leave, $10, $20, $30 tip, and they're going, wow, does it really cost that much to go? And they weren't stupid. They knew on the menu, but it never clicked. And I think a problem with kids, our kids are 30s now, is that everything is debit card. Everything is debit card and credit card. And they don't even balance checkbooks. They just look to see what their balance is, and they just go, and hopefully they're making enough money to pay their bills. And I love your idea of doing this with the kids. My grandbabies are way too young for it. But so thank you. Wonderful idea about the money with kids.
Oh, well, thank you. It's an inspired idea. So I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about it. Thank you, Jody. And let's go to Adrian and then Therese, and then I'm going to be 45 past, but I do have another meeting that starts exactly at the top of the hour. So I'm going to have to wrap up here pretty soon. So Adrian, what's going on?
Hello, everybody. Hope you're all okay. I see the chat earlier on, a honeymoon, talking about the honeymoon period. Yes, at the beginning, you're all reared up and you're all raring to go. And as soon as you hit the wall, you're going, is it going to work for you? But it's pushing it beyond that wall, pushing it beyond that. Keep on going with your goal, because I've been at this 2 months now, and I've hit so many ramps, and I'll get over them. Yeah, and as we've been talking about today, why worry about something which is outside your control? Like, let's take this COVID as an example. We can't do anything about it, but a lot of people worry about it. But as long as you take precautions and you look after everything, why worry about anything else? Because I think too many people concentrate on things what are beyond their control and not what on their goal. And I think over the last 2 months, I've concentrated on my goal. Whatever happens outside that goal, which is out of your control, forget it. You can't do nothing about it. Just concentrate on your goal. My philosophy, as I keep on saying, is you've got a road, you've got a goal, just concentrate on that and forget what everything goes on around you. And I found that really useful by not worrying about anything out of my control, and I've just concentrated on the goal. And since I've been doing that, I've achieved so many things. So I just want to speak to everybody. Continue doing what you're doing. Just get to your goal. Forget what happens around it, and that's it. Forget about what you can't control and just go for your goal, and you will get there. Honestly, you will.
Well said. Thank you, Adrian. So good. We're going to wrap up with Therese. Before I do that, anyone who knows Ingrid, if you could reach out to her. I think Ingrid, if you could reach out to a couple of your friends here, that would be good. You deserve to be in a good conversation today. Let's wrap up with Therese. Therese, did we save the best for last? Here comes Therese.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Thank you.
I don't see
How
you,
is
but I hear
everyone?
you. I don't see you. Where's your camera?
Oh, you know what? I'm on the trail, and so I just did
but
one
show
loop,
us
and
the trail. We need a little bit of
you want a trail? Okay, I will.
objective reality here. Yes, thank you.
I don't know how to flip it. Oh, here we go. This is where I am right now.
Oh, thank you.
Is that good? And then I'll take it upwards so you can see. There you go. It's a nice
There it
little
is.
clip.
Thank you.
So, okay, make you dizzy there. I just wanted to say hello. I missed Friday. Just trying to address some things going on for myself. But I wanted to speak to the, like trying to push puzzle pieces into the wrong, into a spot that doesn't fit. So you hit the wall, like things all of a sudden just don't work and you get so frustrated. And then from that frustration, all this like internal dialogue starts happening. It's like this avalanche of, oh, I can't do it. What am I doing? What have I done? And so I'm kind of queen of that. And I know I've talked before about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I use it for a lot of different things. And that helps me stop a little bit of the dialogue. But I think getting up, walking out the door, leaving, and or just taking the day, like, my job isn't, my regular job is still not happening. So like yesterday, I just went to the beach and put my feet in the water, played in the sand, and I went back home and everything clicked, right? My shipping plan, the PDF. I did have some help from Randy and Evelyn on trying to get that done the other day, but I hit the wall. I couldn't figure it out. So it was like I had to take a break, go back to it, and then it just worked. So I just wanted to say, yeah, try not to beat yourselves up in the process like I do, and take a breath and keep going. So thanks everyone for, just having a hand in our changes and our growth.
Thank you, Therese. So awesome. And thank you for the forest walk.
Yeah.
You're taking your breath right now. So that's beautiful. So very good, my friends. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. I know we've got other stuff on the agenda for today in different Zoom rooms and such. I will look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. Invite some friends. That'd be great. And in the meantime, you guys are awesome. Thank you for being a part of my journey. This is important. So we'll see you guys again real soon. Have a great day.
Bye, John.
Bye, John. Bye, everyone. Take care.